hopefully everything goes well. So I don't know what it's like for you, but the weather in the northeast here in Gateshead is absolutely stopping down at the moment. So hopefully it's not too bad where you are. So fingers crossed you can hear me talking, and in 2 minutes 20 something seconds we'll actually put the camera on and we'll start the chat. And it's really good to see everybody here, so thank you for coming, I really appreciate it. Hello, how are you doing? Fingers crossed you can see me, and fingers crossed you can hear me. Can someone just say, like, is it okay? Can you hear me? Is it loud enough? Yeah, can everyone hear me okay, or the sound level's okay? Great, because obviously I don't quite see what you see. I just basically see myself on the camera, so I don't really know what's been seen essentially on there. So a big thank you to everyone who's turned up to this. I literally thought when I was talking to this about Ian and Phil, who I really appreciate for moderating for me, I would just be happy if they had turned up, and anybody else would have been a bonus. So you join me here in my office, and also becomes the children's dumping room. So I've had to tidy it up a little bit this afternoon to make it look reasonable, at least, to say that. So things we're going to talk about is just what would the new normal be like, and I'll try and see if I can get the girls to come in. The girls go to bed about 2 minutes ago, so we'll see if they come in or not. They might pop in a second, they might decide not to, but just to start thinking about what would the new normal be like. Interesting to see that the Caravan Club have said that they're going to open their sites from the 4th, hopefully in England. Obviously Scotland and Wales have slightly different rules and different kind of, I suppose, protocols for how they're going to open up. And it was quite interesting to see that the Caravan Club decided that they would probably, and it did say something like some or like maybe, but it basically said they would try and keep their toilets and those facilities open, because what I thought in the video that we did on New Normal was maybe that people might not, or the sites might not have their facilities open just to reduce the chances of infection. So my first little question is, if you go to a caravan site and it has facilities open, will you use them? So just in the chat, if you go to a site and it has facilities, will you use them? Or would you prefer just to use yours in the caravan, and is that where you're going to go? So I'm going to quickly read the chat and we'll just see what comments put down. So would you use facilities at the site if they were open, or are you a little apprehensive for the time being and you would prefer just to use the ones in your caravan?
You filming?
Yeah. You say hi, Martha.
Hi.
There's Martha there. Just going to bed now, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, going to go to bed in a minute. Is Maisie coming?
I'll call Maisie.
Maisie might not come. She's a bit older, so she gets a little bit shy at times. Quite interesting, just reading the chat here, is that...
She does not want to come.
Okay, Maisie doesn't want to come. She's quite shy at times.
Well, she's
Okay.
not really shy. She just doesn't want to do it because she thinks that
Right.
it's like a time that older people wouldn't go at this time.
Oh, right, okay.
So she just thinks it's embarrassing.
Alright, okay. Alright then.
Bye.
So apparently my older daughter thinks it's embarrassing. Just interesting to see the delay that we're getting there. So I'm just reading some of the comments. Yeah, so quite a few people said that they will use theirs. And a few people said they hope they do keep the toilets because they would like to use them. Somebody on Facebook asked the famous question when I asked what question they would do and what would happen about the number 2 situation. I'm not going to get too far into that, but interesting that they were thinking like, would you still do that? Because I know some people do use their toilet for absolutely everything, but we actually generally get the girls can go and have a number 1, but they normally generally advise to try and go to the toilet block unless it's obviously a bit of a kind of nighttime visit and they have to go on a night time, in which case they obviously would just use the toilet inside the caravan. And that's quite interesting that Mike's put on there that only got a sink and a WC in a camper, so would like to use the showers. Somebody put a comment on who had a camper van, I think it was a VW, saying that they obviously had a sink and things in their camper, but they didn't have a toilet or any wash facilities. So they thought that some sites wouldn't allow them on at all at the moment, because the sites had said in their rules that yes, you can come, but for the best part the facilities would be shut, and that people would need to use their own kind of toilet and their own facilities in their caravan. So quite a few interesting people there said that they would still use the facilities. I don't know what I would do, to be honest, because we went away to Warren Mill Caravan Park and it was literally days before the lockdown came in. I think the lockdown came in on the Monday, and the girls decided not to, but I was still using the shower facilities. I didn't have any qualms about it. I just made sure that obviously I kind of washed my hands very thoroughly, and not just my hands. I had a little thing about kind of getting a little bit up my wrist as well, just to make sure that everything was absolutely spot on clean. So I still did use the facilities, obviously try to keep social distance and try and keep away. Although it was that question, would you kind of use the door handle, or would you use your kind of jumper or whatever you had on to try and stop you touching that, or would you even wear gloves to try and minimise that risk? I quite enjoyed their motorhome chit chat. Once you break the ice of having a number 2 in the van, then it's all good apparently. I don't know if that's Aaron or Vicky, but yeah, thank you for that. That's quite interesting that Last Weekend said that they would be taking their own wipes to the loo block. And then, I like Paul's very to the point. As long as we get back to caravan again, we would just use a bush. Hopefully not, but I'm sure somebody would. I'm a runner, and you wouldn't believe what people do during runs just to make sure they can keep going. You probably can't imagine really, but it's not the nicest thing. Oh yeah, Ian from Lover Caravan's been quite a tall gentleman, and he also says quite a stoutly man as well. I hope he doesn't mind me saying that. He's a 22 stone, that's his words, not mine. And he said that, yeah, might struggle to get in the caravan shower. Again, I can't comment for him, that's just his comments on there. So that's quite an interesting one on there. I mean, our plans going forward are we're looking at the 4th of July about the possibility of going to a local site for about just for the one night, because I think it's a Saturday start day, which is about half an hour away, I think. 25, half an hour away. We did consider Durham Grange, which is a caravan, a motorhome site, which looks really good. But for us, it just seems a little bit too close. And often when we go to sites, it's a bit of a, I suppose it's somewhere in the region of 45 minutes to 2 hours on a weekend, because we want to be far enough away so that it feels like we're getting a bit of a break, but not too far away. That especially if you're going for a weekend, because then you end up kind of the drive becomes a bit, obviously with us and the 3 girls as well, it can become a little bit tricky going on longer drives, particularly if you don't get away until 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, especially when it gets a bit darker. So yeah, that's an interesting one. Anything else there? I like Ian's there. How very dare you? I hope that wasn't me. I was just reiterating your comments there. Okay. That's a good one. Paul said, is anyone aware if the CLs will follow the reopen date? I don't know. If anybody knows any more, that would be quite useful. So I don't know if that's the case or not. And somebody said there that prices have gone a bit mad. Yeah, we are heading to Yorkshire. Somebody said about Yorkshire for first year out again, an extreme motorhome adventure. They can't wait for that. Yeah, so first week, if we do go, it is just going to be for the one night. Technically, we could go for longer, but Lucy's still at work. She's actually a health visitor. I'm a teacher, so I'm off in the centre. I don't have to go to school as of yet. I'm a secondary school teacher, so we are up in the numbers slightly. We're now having live lessons with our year 12 sixth formers. They next year do their A-levels. With year 10, we haven't quite got to that point, but we do have a lot of online work for them, and we do obviously contact through email, so I can quite easily go away as long as I've set a thing up and it's not a day when I'm doing one of my live lessons. And I could technically go away for longer if I wanted to, but I think just the one night, just to kind of like I think somebody said on Twitter, just to get used to it and just remind ourselves about the caravan and how all the facilities work and how we set everything up. We're thinking for the next week that the week after that, we're actually going past Barnard Castle, and we won't be going for an eye test while we're there. So we're going to go past Barnard Castle to a place near Brompton on Swale, which is just off the A1. And we found a little CL there, and it looks superb. It's a farm. I'll try and find the link at some point. Maybe I'll put it on Twitter. And it's got like obviously 5 pictures as more CLs, and it even has a little park near it. The park's not part of the CL, but it does have a park near it. And we were obviously again having the same conversation with the new normal. Would we, if we were going away, would we let the girls go on the park if it was open? Because it may well not be open. It's still a bit of a tricky one. I think we possibly will. If the girls really, really want to go on the play park, I think we're going to let them. But what we're going to do is buy some plastic gloves, and then at least like they can put the plastic gloves on, they can go on the park, and as soon as they leave the park, they can obviously take them off, and one of us will be with them because we do all the time, and just make sure that they're not going to catch anything. And when they get back in, obviously make sure they wash their hands, because I think that's still going to be reasonable, because obviously we are a family, and trying to keep keeping it as normal as possible, really, I suppose. So, all right, so. Alright, so maybe a couple of my lovely students there trying to come on, so hopefully that doesn't spoil it too much. And thank you to Ian, who've obviously sorted that out and just making sure that they're taken out a little bit. Just going to go through a couple of ones just while I'm here, obviously, because the moderators are doing a really good job, but there's an odd little person thinks it's a good idea to come on to here. Just check. Scrolling back up there. Anyway, just going to hide a couple of people putting the weird comments on. Champion. Okay. Okay. Oh, actually, interesting question there. Extreme Motorhome Adventures, how you find doing lessons online. I mean, it's with year 12s. We do have a lot of boys who have a computer science teacher, and they can be a little bit, you have to kind of give and take with them. But it went okay. We had a lesson with them on Tuesday, but what we've made sure is that we've got 2 of us there. We don't have to by school rules, but we decided that we would have both of us there at the lesson, and it meant that one of us could kick them off if they needed to, or one of them could mute them if they needed to, or one of them could have a quick chat with them and just say, look, like, you need to kind of bring yourself back online. There was 23 of them turned up, and they were spot on. To be fair, they answered questions really well. They tried to get on to learn as much as possible, and that was a good thing. Yeah. Right. So just reading a couple of comments coming through. Yeah, Rob first saying, are we going to go into school at the moment? I do have to go to school every so often, but to be fair to my school and my head teacher, they've been spot on, and what they've done is they've actually made sure that we're in very rarely. And when we are going in, even though we've got 2,000 students in our school, give or take, you're lucky. Last time I've been in, there was about 12 or 15, I think was the most I've been in. And again, I'm not in again until July, although I am a head of department, so it might be that I have to go in a little bit more just to make sure that they're kind of okay and everything's sorted. Colin's there, just coming in a bit late. That's absolutely fine. Okay. Alright. Yeah, so that's our plans. Maybe to go away again. Somebody on Facebook also made a good point, which is, would the local people be a little bit apprehensive about you being back there? And I think it probably would. I mean, it depends which area you go to. I mean, my late father lived in the Lake District, or near the Lake District, and I know that in the lakes, the facilities in terms of like healthcare isn't anywhere near as good as you would get up here in the northeast. So like, I wouldn't necessarily want to go there because I wouldn't want to put a burden on their system and what they're doing. So I think I think everyone's going to be a little bit apprehensive, but obviously a lot of some economies and some regions, that's how they make their money. So I think it would be a bit of both. Some people will be over the moon to see us back, spend a little bit of money social distance wise, but some areas are not going to be over impressed. I think about people coming, like Graham's to say about hoping Scotland's open a really stunning place, but obviously they've got a different way of reducing the lockdown than we have so far. Yeah, and I agree with a couple of comments there. I mean, necessarily we're going to try and start locally, and then over time we're going to maybe go a little bit further. It all depends on what rules come out from the government when they do come out. Alright. Another thing that somebody came up with is, do you do things like Instapots maybe take over from barbecues because of the situation, particularly if you're going to CL and you don't want to burn through lots of gas? Now, we don't have an Instapot. We do have a slow cooker. We don't actually use it in the caravan, but that would be something we maybe think about, maybe taking with us. But again, if you use something an Instapot, it's obviously the electric, so you'd have to have a good hookup for that. We're thinking that if it goes on a bit longer, we might invest in getting a safe fill bottle. I mean, we haven't actually bought any gas bottles for our caravan so far, and we're into our 3rd season. And the main reason is just the fact that the first caravan we bought, somebody gave us a Cala Light gas with it, and it was absolutely full. And then somebody on the new caravan, we got the 586, had a standard Cala gas in, but that was pretty much full. I mean, it's about half empty now. So I think, we probably, the way we've been using gas, because we're often hook up, we're only using somewhere in the region of half a bottle a season, probably less, I think. Okay, right. Yeah. Somebody also said, would we take more water carriers to allow for showering? I mean, obviously we're a family of 5. I don't know. I mean, we've got one of those Eco Camel heads, and some people the other day on Facebook were saying they were going to change the head on their shower in order to try and make the water last a bit longer. And to be fair, our caravan with the Eco Camel was much better than the Luna 546, and it does obviously save a bit of water in it, and the boost setting on our current caravan is a lot better than the old one. It was okay for eating the old one, but if you had a shower, you were waiting quite a while, particularly if you did it on electric, for it to come back to heating, and you couldn't have consecutive showers, and you even had to do a little trick where you kind of turn it on, get yourself wet, then you would put your soap on, then you would take the soap off, then you would wet yourself again, and then you would obviously put the shampoo on. So yeah, our Eagle Camel head that comes with our caravan's been spot on, and it might be a possibility for other people. I do think it does save water, and you do get a reasonable flow compared to, again, the old Caravan, although you also could change your water pump. If you've got a Truma water pump, you could change it on the wheel one that plugs in, because apparently a few videos on YouTube say that gives a better flow. Alright, so that's our first main topic about the new normal and how will that work and how will it work for us. I think it's going to be different for everybody because everyone's got a different set of circumstances. I suppose it depends what you want from the site. We're essentially going to go from sites that are normally £25-30 a night for the starting point anyway, to go in places that are more like 15, maybe 20, maybe even a little bit less. Some of the sales we're looking at, we looked at one the other day and it was £11, so I thought, well, that's pretty reasonable. And then every time you're going away, you're paying like £22 for a weekend, where often in the past we've been paying £50 to £60 for a weekend. Right. Some really good content. Hi down there from the Trudgeons, to see you, Caravanians. Good to see you. Okay. Having a look at a couple of the comments just here. Alright. Our second thing we're thinking about, and it might apply to a few people as well, is our summer holidays. So we've been caravanning, this is our third season, and we've booked to go to France, but just the tunnel. So we've booked the tunnel to go there, but we haven't booked anything else because we were just on the cusp of kind of booking, I think it's a Sandia places. We looked at Allen Court, and there's another place we looked at which is just above Tours. So we'd looked at these places and we started to decide what we would like and what we maybe want from our holiday, but we hadn't actually booked anywhere. And obviously then lockdown happened, and then it was a bit like, we were all a bit apprehensive whether it would happen. And obviously it's still up in the air. A lot of sites are saying they're going to be open, but obviously it depends whether the French are going to let us in, which it looks more and more like each day they are going to, unless we get a second spike. But at the same time, we're thinking, well, do we want to go there? Do we want to go to a site if there's nothing particularly open? Because the biggest thing for us when we go to France, and I feel like I'm talking about it more now than Graham on Caravan Vlogger, is the pool and is the slides for us. Yes, we do venture out, and yes, we go and see places, but that's a big thing for us. And the girls really, really enjoy. I mean, we've obviously got 3 children, as you know, and when you go to the pool, you essentially get rid of 2 of them. That sounds harsh, getting rid of, but 2 of the children are just happy to go and play and go and just kind of get on with things. So we just have Olivia with us, but she's even quite good now. We've got a little shallow pool, she'll happily go and play in the pool. So it depends what happens with that. The place we were going, I think it's Sandia, Sandy, I think it is. They're actually setting up a thing where you can cancel for any reason within 14 days, I think, or before 14 days, you can cancel for any reason. So we might do that. I mean, it's also looking at the ferries and tunnels seems to have kind of shot up because they've realised that a lot of people are now considering going, and then they've realised that a lot of people want to get back, particularly for us, with just for the end of school holidays. And they've been a little bit, I don't know, maybe I suppose it's business really. It is a market, you can charge a lot more, and I think maybe the tunnel has done that a little bit. So just here's any more comments on there. So thank you for moderators trying to keep on top of whoever the kind of young people are that have decided to join in here. Yeah, and quite a few people have decided not to like extreme motorhome adventures. I know the Caravan Nuts rebooked theirs. I know Rob Forrest was thinking about rebooking theirs, but it's basically been changed. Yeah, and a few people about staycation. I mean, yeah, I quite like. I do love the UK, and I do love where we live and the places around where we live. I mean, the biggest thing for us about France is the consistency of weather. We thought about going out to Cornwall and Devon, but they're beautiful and stunning places. Partly, but we don't want to kind of overflood that region in case any have any issues like a regional spike. But it's also the fact that we really like going to France because we just get the weather a lot better. I mean, sometimes it's even a bit too hot for us and the girls, but generally the weather's really good. Every day we go out and you can do things where, I know you can still go out in the UK, but it does sometimes put a bit of a damper on the weather if you're getting it's getting a bit cold or a bit cooler. Yeah, and Dad had mentioned there, just always comment that they're going to cancel theirs and they're going to wait till autumn, so that's quite useful, yeah. Yeah. Alright. Okay. So just gonna take a couple of people out as well. Alright. Yeah, it's interesting that Rob and Sally said that Alan Court was good for them, and we did look at Alan Court, but I am a little bit tight. Maybe that's my fault, because I do pretty much. I mean, my wife pays for everything else pretty much for the kids, so I did normally pay for going to France, and it was just that the cost was a bit high. Yeah, somebody said there, but would you recommend a holiday to France? And yeah, I really loved it. I mean, obviously we've been used to in the past going on holidays to like Greece and Turkey and things, and yes, it's a bit of a long drive, and we're going to do a video soon about keeping the children occupied. But when we got there, the weather was stunning, and if we went away in the summer to somewhere like Turkey or Spain, I mean, it would be like 40 degrees in some places, and that's probably not good for us and the children. So France normally, I mean, yes, we had 33 last year, which was tough, and it would have been better to have aircon, but we still managed quite well actually. Like that. Somebody there, like Mike there, got 5 nights in the Isle of Wight in September. Okay. Alright. Okay, right. I apologise if we've hidden anybody that we possibly shouldn't have hidden, but we've got a few people coming on making the odd silly remark. Some of them might be actually quite serious, so I feel to apologise for that one. Right, so, like I said, France, yeah. We're just trying to see, I mean, obviously if we get a 40-day quarantine, I can't say when I've been off school for this long, or by the way, I'm back, but I can't come back in September for 14 days, although we do sort of think that September won't be a normal school year. Even secondary schools, there is rumours that they might not be fully open until January. We'll have to wait and see what happens on that. Okay, next thing we've got on our list to talk about is the channel's purpose. I mean, obviously we've been around since November, I think 2018, and the original idea was a bit like our slogan is now, which is to show that Caravan Time is family time, and it is a really good quality of family time. Particularly, I mean, I quite like when you don't get a signal somewhere. I mean, it frustrates me as well, but it means that I spend more quality time with my children when I'm at home. I'm obviously answering emails from people, I'm sending things back, I'm sometimes editing videos, and it just means that we spend a bit more quality time together. The girls really, really appreciate that. So the original idea of the channel was going to be about vlogging and about like caravan life as part of a family. What sort of happened is we had a few issues with our Adria that which we bought in November 2018. I know everyone has loads of really good things to say about Adria, so we got the one van that had quite a few issues, and we ended up selling it. But it took from November till the best part of July to get going again in that season, so it meant that we had to do other things trying to keep the channel going. That's why we started doing things like caravan reviews and other bits and pieces, and even a few family vlogs. And I think we really want to, when lockdown finally opens and we can get out a little bit more, we actually want to get back to a bit more about, that's what our kind of core purpose as a channel. I mean, like I said earlier on in a comment, I mean, obviously we'd seen Dan's videos, and we'd seen Make Way with the Morleys, which would be good to see more of them, and we were really, really impressed to show like how caravan life was as a family, and even to see caravan life as a couple, or caravan life and what kind of where your family unit works. But it's just interesting to see that and different people's perspective on things, because you know, we might put out a similar video sometimes, but there are different perspective on different things. That the way I'd set up a caravan, a lot of similarities to other people. I mean, one of the big things for us is we often go to a site that has a park, because when we get there, at least the children can go off to the park, and it just means that I can try and crack on and kind of set up the caravan, get everything sorted. So that's where we're at with that, really. Yeah, okay. I'm going to see if we can get in our new special guest that we've booked up. So I'll just see if Lucy can see our guest can come in. Just quickly text her. Okay, there you go. Right. So the last thing we're going to do before we finish is we're going to play a little game. I don't know how well this is going to work. It might work well. It might be a bit of an epic fail. So we'll just totally see. So what you will need to do is we're going to go through a little game like higher and lower. It'll be like the card Bruce's Price is Right. Good game, good game. I'll not do that again, but we're going to have a little game of that, but with a caravan twist. So I'll just quickly flick that on now, although the special guest might come in a second. Not got nothing back about the special guest. Right, so we'll go back to the game section, and so can you just let me know, can you now see that window? It's going to shove that over there a second. So just let me know, can you see the play your caravans? Right, hopefully you can see that. I need to get my little sheet as well. Oh, the new guest is here. Wait there 2 seconds. Switch back for 2 seconds. So this, okay, is our new special guest. This is Luna, who is a Bichon Frise cross puppy. She's actually crossed with a cane terrier, so she does have a little bit of stubbiness in her. She is pretty much white, as you can possibly see, although she might not be amused by this. No, she's not amused by this. Say hello. Hello. Yeah, so we've had her for a couple of weeks. She's only actually 7 weeks old. It's a long story, I'm not going to bore you with it now. But we've had her a couple of weeks, so she's just kind of getting settled in. And she'll probably fall asleep. Me now, I've just got her now, so I'll pass her back to Lucy and you can go to fall asleep with Lucy. Although Lucy doesn't really want to come in the camera that much, because she's a bit camera shy. There you go. That's our special guest there from Luna, who my daughter called Luna Petuna. So because Olivia watches a program called Luna Petuna, she's actually named Luna after Harry Potter, after the character from Harry Potter, because my older daughter Maisie absolutely loves Harry Potter, and because she's fairly light in her complexion, very white like most Bichon Frises, she decided that she would call her Luna, and the name stuck. So there you go. Right. So just let me know that that comes up. If you just put a comment down, can you see that? Just quickly get the comments back on the side. Hopefully that's appeared. It's having to think here about coming up. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. I mean, she is absolutely lovely. We got her far too early. The people we got them of lied and said she was 8 weeks, and she wasn't. So bless her. Bless her. She is gorgeous though, although she's getting a bit yappy at the moment, so we'll have to train that out of her a little bit. Okay, right. So we're going to play this game. I don't know what the delay is going to be like, so we'll have to see. Yeah, that's exactly like Caravan Vlogger, higher or lower. Okay, so hopefully it's set up okay. Your first caravan is a Bailey Segovia. Okay. So you've got to decide if the next caravan that is going to appear in a second is higher or lower in terms of MPTLM. So, yeah, nice to meet you, nice. So you've got to basically have a look and see the Segovia there. Do you think the next caravan is going to have a lower MPTLM or a higher MPTLM? I'm not going to tell you what the MPTLM of the Unicorn Segovia is, which is now a discontinued model, which is now replaced by a different caravan. So this caravan here, the next one has a higher or lower MPTLM. Next one is a Phoenix 716. So Segovia is 1767. That was its original MPTLM before you got an upgrade plate. It is a bit of a big beast, and it does weigh quite a bit. And then the 760 is lighter, but I'm not going to tell you exactly how much lighter it is. Don't worry, my little windows appearing here as well. There you go. So next one, obviously we have a 760. Do we think the next caravan will have a higher MPTLM or a lower MPTLM? Higher or lower? So 760, do you think that the next one will be higher or lower? Higher or lower? Next caravan is going to be heavier or lower. Our next caravan is an Adria Isonzo. So the 760 has an original plated weight of 1600 kilograms. The 613 DT Isonzo has a 1750, or sometimes 1800. It can be upplated, so that is heavier. Okay, so that one is actually a heavier caravan than the 760. So hopefully you went for higher and not lower. If you went for lower, unfortunately, you didn't win. There are no prizes, just a little game. Okay, so the next one we're going to have on here is the Isonzo, which I've said is 1750 kilos or 1800 kilos, depending on how it's plated. We're going to say it's 1750. Do you think the next caravan is going to be lower or higher MPTLM? Higher or lower? Higher or lower? Oh, I think a few people have come in here, so it's going to be lower. It's going to be a lighter caravan. I mean, it is a big caravan and a heavy caravan with twin axles, but it is 8 foot wide. I like the Extreme Motorhome would like to play Shorts Biscuits, and we can guess. I mean, that could be the next time. Next time we'll do biscuits. We'll do biscuits if we can find some. So next one, no, there are no pickup trucks, is a Phoenix 640. I know if you, Dan, I believe, has a dealer special of this. So yeah, that is lighter than 1750. Not going to say how heavy it is yet. So next one we've got is we have a 640, and is the next caravan going to be lighter or heavier than this? And it's also one that's owned by another caravan vlogger. Is it going to be higher or lower? So we've got the 640. I'll give you a hint, the Phoenix is a very light for their thing. I think Bailey's done a really good job of taking the weight out of a lot of these Phoenixes, because they are significantly lighter than Bailey's other caravans used to be. Yeah, unfortunately you're saying house doesn't work, Ian, but thanks for that. Higher or lower? Okay, so the next one is higher. Okay, so the 640, like we said, was at 1382, and the Bailey Unicorn Vigo on when I looked online was 1499. So just under 1.5 tons. So it's interesting. I can Caravan the Coxes have that one on theirs. Okay. So, alright. Next one, we have obviously the Vigo, which we've just said is 1499. Is the next caravan going to be heavier or lighter than this? And it's one owned by a member on Twitter. So we've got there. We've got the Unicorn Vigo. Do you think the next caravan's going to be heavier than that? This one's obviously 1499. Or is it going to be lighter than this? Oh, there's a mixed response this time. It's a bit of higher and lower. I like Linda's comment that she wants all these caravans, all of them. Right. The next one is an Elders Avante 586. This is a 2020 model I got the data from. I was quite surprised how light a caravan this is, to be fair. I know Elders do some lighter caravans, but it's only 1460, which I think is pretty decent, to be fair. It is, yeah, I haven't gone for any that are exactly the same. That would just be harsh, man, on the mission. I mean, I might do next time. Yeah, so the Elders Avante 586 in its 2020, guys, is 1460. So it is a lighter caravan than the Vigo. Couple more to go. So we've got the 586. Is the next caravan going to be heavier or lighter? And yes, that's interesting from Rob Forrest saying that theirs is 1500. So obviously they've been putting on a bit of a diet recently. I don't know what they've taken out to get it down by 50 kilos, but something they've done to make it lighter. And I've got a few that are saying the next caravan's going to be heavier than that. The next caravan is owned by a YouTuber. They've just recently bought this, and I'll tell you, it is a hefty van. Next one is a Swift 645 SE 2014, which I believe is the same model that Ian has. And that is a very heavy caravan. I'm not going to say how heavy it is, but it's a fair weight. You would need a fairly hefty tow car to tow this, or you'd be very comfortable doing that. Yeah, like Linda said, that's Ian's Swift one. And the last caravan we have, we've got a Swift 645 still, which I said is a fairly hefty. Is the last caravan going to be lower or higher? So they're going to be higher or lower MPTLM. Bear in mind that, just give you a hint, that Challenger SE, beautiful thing, but it's a bit of a beast. Yeah, there's no deluxe hamper or fitted kitchen. I mean, I do have a wheel pump in the garage if anyone wants that. Also, if anybody's in the northeast, we're looking for, I've got a Waste Master as well. Yeah, so obviously Ian thinks that this is the best caravan so far. I think he means the one that's coming next, actually. Lower. Yeah, so the Swift 645 SE is a whole 1.8 tons. It's a big caravan. And next one, last one, is a Bailey Unicorn Cartagena. And actually, it's not as heavy as I thought it would be. It's 1682. And that is the end there. That's the end of the little session there. Okay, so we'll go back to the camera. So just take this off a second. Yeah, so that's kind of the end of our little chat. We just thought we'd do a short chat for the first time. Just kind of getting used to the idea of having a chat. So hopefully that's been enjoyable. I'm obviously happy to sit and talk to people on the chat as well, or answer questions. So that's the end of our content section. But if you do want to ask any general questions, then feel free, and I'll get back to you on the chat, or I'll kind of answer the questions as we're going along. Yeah, good game. I mean, the cards weren't cruel on this occasion. They were pretty good. I kind of made it so it was a bit easier. Maybe next time we should make it a little bit harder on purpose. I just thought we'd do something a little bit different, and I thought we'd play a little game. But I thought that was the best way we could play that game. So hopefully the delay was okay and it wasn't too bad. I mean, I do have a Chromebook next to me, but I don't want to kind of keep looking at the Chromebook all the time. I've actually got 2 monitors in front of me. That's why I've been sitting looking down to check what we've been doing. Yeah, thank you, Itchy Feet Caravan. That's great. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. The main campsite said, so what's my caravan? It's a Swift 586. Yeah. So if anybody's got any questions, feel free to put them in the chat and we'll try and answer those. Anything else about New Normal or other things that we'd like to talk about, then we're happy to do that. So thank you, yes, Linda, for letting me do live. I really appreciate it, and I'm really happy that I had Ian and Phil, bless them. They must be working hard. I did think I might get a few, because obviously I am a teacher, and a few of them probably think it's funny to come on and decide to try and spoil it. But I think really people did a really good job there of trying to help. All right. Okay, so that's the end of our little live stream. Like I said, and if you want to make any other useful questions, then by all means do. Obviously this will be available on YouTube in a few days' time, and our next video on Sunday is about our new barbecue that we've bought, because we had a teppanyaki but it started falling apart, so we've bought a new gas barbecue, and we'll be showing that on Sunday at the usual time of 6 p.m. And remember that we believe that Caravan Time is family time, and that Caravan Time is freedom for all of us. So if you're going, bye-bye. It's been good seeing you or talking to you. Yeah, so really, really big thank you for all the people that have tuned. I didn't actually see the stats on how many people turned up at the end. Obviously, I'll see them a little bit later on. Please give it a thumbs up because I guarantee some of them people that are thinking making a funny account was useful will probably give a thumbs down, but we'll see them. Otherwise, I'll just I'll get some from someone. Okay. Good night. I'm now going to go and watch a popular TV program on Netflix. Did start watching the last Star Wars today, but didn't get the end of it. So thank you and good night. And we'll see you maybe in the next one. If Phil and Ian are happy enough to moderate again, I might need another 5 moderators plus them to help out. So bye and thank you very much for watching. Really appreciate taking the time, and hopefully you have a good weekend, and hopefully the weather's better than it is meant to be up here in the northeast.